Hello and welcome back to Dark Souls 1. This is part 2 of our Halberd run, which, if you remember, last time we started the game, got a Halberd, killed both bosses for the Bells of Awakening, along with a few other bosses, and we got our shield. And this time we're going to be starting off in Sen's Fortress, so let's get right into it. Now, last time I made a lot of mistakes, and I took a lot of hits that I had kind of been smoothing out and smoothing over. And I mentioned that was because that I took like a month-long break and played other games. And so I was very rusty coming back to Dark Souls 1, and I just needed a little bit of time to get back into the Dark Souls 1 groove. And I think Sen's Fortress is the first area where I really got back into the swing of things. And 2 large Titanite shards. And so you could really start to see me just like smooth out a lot of the mistakes and let my knowledge show a bit more, which was very nice. But we continue on, get the Ring of Steel protection because defense is nice. And we haven't really been using or making use of the blue Tearstone ring, so we swap them because we can. And another 2 large Titanite shards. And then we get to the giant, which, yeah. Locking on with piercing weapons against enemies like this, the point of them, I shouldn't say the point of them, but you're supposed to hit them in their legs. But when you lock on to like the center of mass, which is between their legs. And so if you swing, you have a tendency to miss. But also, pokey weapons are not very good for free aiming. But we did it. We got the 3K. We got the Titanite chunk. And with him dead, we can move on, run back through the area to get another 2 large Titanite shards, along with some souls. And then we keep on moving down. Which, very good RNG drop from that guy. And the Halberd was definitely performing better than expected. Especially if, okay, and flame stone plate ring, but I wasn't expecting a pokey weapon to do this good in Dark Souls 1. But we move on, we talk to this guy, because, very crucially, he sells the Katarina set, which is our armor set for this run. Which if you look, that's, I think, like 34,000, which we don't even have half of that. But for right now, we're fine just getting the pants.
Go along, try and make enough.
Because I just want something to cover myself up. And so we got that. We have pants to cover ourselves, but it makes us medium roll. And so I knew we had to sacrifice something here. And I went, well, 3 to 3.5, or 3.5 to 3. So we're only, at max, 0.5 away. Which means we're 1 to 2 endurance levels away. And I figured, I haven't been using the shield much, and I don't really need to use it, so I can just take that off until we can get 1 to 2 more endurance levels. Because, pants. And moving on back through, not the best, but again, the Halberds have been performing well. They've been doing good work. My only question is, because of how bad things were with the piercing swords, and because this is also a pierce weapon, will things continue to go smoothly because of the better damage and range and poise damage? Or will it falter? But not thinking about that now. We move on, we get the Slumbering Dragon Crest ring. That was rude. But one of the things I like to do in these like single weapon class runs is get every single weapon in that weapon class. And I remember there being a scythe down here, or some kind of halberd at least, so I figured to come down here and get it. And I wasn't going to do any fighting here, so I decided to take the weapon off and move to the shield, just to be able to block if I needed to. But we got the scythe. It is a halberd, despite not being called a halberd, and in the later games, scythes are their own weapon class, but for now it's here and we got it, so moving on. And we move over to the second giant, which threw a bit of a hissy fit. But hey, that means that it's very nice and easy for us to poke. So we don't have to worry about, like, free aiming shots until it gets up. And I was like, well, the heavy attack, while it is slower and takes a lot of stamina, we can do that if we really need to avoid the poke. But we took them down another 3k, another Titanite chunk. And something that I noticed while going back to Elden Ring is, in this game, you need to press spacebar, or on a PlayStation controller, circle, you know, the dodge button, to slide down the ladders. But if you do that in Elden Ring, you just drop off the ladder. And so... And Bloodborne is very similar to Elden Ring, in that you need to hold down the dodge button along with putting in a directional cue in order to go. Whereas Dark Souls 1, very different. Which kind of throws me off and got me killed in Elden Ring once. So, yeah. But moving on, we go talk to Andre, and we decide to get some weapon upgrades, which 13 damage, 11, 12, 13 damage. It's very consistent with this 13 damage. And because we got one large Titanite shard from the enemy, with lucky RNG, another 13 damage, getting it to plus 10. And again, lucky RNG allowed us to get 3 Titanite shards for the shield to get that to plus 5. And at this point, I decided to come back and take a look at the armor, which twinkling Titanite, so it would be useful. And I had 4, and there's 4 pieces of the armor set, so I was wondering, like, I was going back and forth between, do I upgrade this 3 times, or do I get the entire set and upgrade every piece of the set once? And I decided to go with this 3 times, which that's a lot of numbers, so I'm not going to go through all of them, but if you care about them, they're there, you can see them, you can pause if you want, and go through those. But now we've got everything that we have upgraded, and we only had enough souls for 1 level, but thankfully that was enough. So we can now light roll. We got the halberd, we got the shield, we got the pants, and at 26 endurance, we can light roll. And we also have a decent selection of rings, which is very good. But at this point, I felt like we were going to turn back, offer a humanity to get ourselves to 10 Estus, and then once I did that, I was pretty comfortable taking on the Iron Golem. So with that, I will let this attempt play itself out. Well, that was easy. And, I mean, it's like a free 40k. We'll take it. We beat him with the Halberd plus 10, the Hollow Soldier Shield plus 5, though we didn't use it. Katarina Leggings plus 3, the Wolf Ring, Ring of Steel Protection, and this 0 Sips of the Estus. And we beat him at level 35 with 25 Vitality, 26 Endurance, 16 Strength, 13 Dexterity, 11 Resistance, and we beat him first try. And from there, we can head on off to Anor Londo and continue on. Which, we had some souls from the boss, so we decided to pop all of our poppable souls and just see how far we could go in a single push. Which, turns out it was 10, almost 11 levels. Which was very nice. So I decided to go to 30 health and endurance. Just to make it nice and even. And 83 to 88, that is 5 damage from 1 dexterity level. Which we normally don't see that from dexterity. In our previous runs, we've mostly only really seen that with strength weapons, like hammers and greatswords, but hey, good damage is good damage, we'll take it. And we will head on. Which, damage check, 1 shot two-handed, and how about one-handed? 1, 2, that's how it's been basically the entire game with the Halberd. But this thing had so much range that they rolled backwards, but we still caught them because that's just how much range the Halberd has. Which, again, I've been surprised by how good this has been, so hopefully it keeps that up. But fighting one of these things, it threw this out, which it's not a Drake, so stop it. But also, this is my 9th time playing through Dark Souls 1, and I've never seen that attack before. These games gotta stop throwing new attacks at me 9 runs in. It's too much. But now look at my health bar. Why'd I take a chunk of damage there? Like, I didn't get hit by anything. That just occasionally happens to that one spot. I'm assuming that it's like fall damage, but I'm not falling. I'm just walking down a slope. And it's a slope that you are forced to walk down. So it's like, again, this is the remaster. I don't know why they wouldn't fix things like that. But also, sometimes this guy just does not. Like, I'm rubbing myself up against him, but he just doesn't want to pull the sword out. He does eventually, but that took like 7 arrow shots. That was ridiculous. At point blank range, you shouldn't be using a bow and arrow. But moving on. Watch this Siegmeyer. No, watch this Siegmeyer. Yeah, see that? This thing has so much range that I can just hit enemies through solid brick. But also, I thought that they would... Ow. But I thought they'd open the door, but they just kind of didn't. But you impressed by that, Siegmeyer? I can hit enemies through solid brick with how much range I have. That's pretty cool, I think. But we can grab this for later. And poke. And a Titanite chunk. Keep in mind, that thing has wings. It's called a bat. But it died to gravity. These things are not the most intelligent creatures. But this guy... He sells another halberd, the giant's halberd, but it's 5,000 souls. That's a third of what we have total. And we're coming back here another like 2 times anyway, so I'll get it when we have more souls to spend then. Now here, a little shenanigans went on something a little funny happened. We quit the game just to de-aggro those enemies. But what happened was, at the time of recording, family was up and doing stuff in the background, and I was needed, and I was in the middle of Ornstein and Smough fight. So I had to exit the game. So this is technically my second time going in, but I didn't actually die to them. So take that as you will. But with that being said, I will let this fight play itself out. Go back and rewatch the beginning of that fight, because there was a point where Smough was pushing Ornstein because Smough was walking faster than Ornstein. So, people who say that Ornstein is speed and Smough is strength, I think we're playing a very different Ornstein and Smough. But I don't know. Maybe I just get really weird RNG every single fight. But anyways, we beat him with the Halberd plus 10, the Hollow Soldier Shield plus 5, the Katarina Leggings plus 3, the Chloranthy Ring, Ring of Steel Protection, and 3 Sips of the Estus. And we beat him at level 48 with 30 vitality, 30 endurance, 16 strength, 17 dexterity, 11 resistance. And first or second try, depending on if you want to count the exit game. I didn't show it, but like I said, I had to exit the game mid-fight because there was family stuff going on. But let me kneel. Let me kneel. Let me... Thank you. Just because I took a months-long break from this game, thank you for the Lord Vessel, does not mean that I've forgotten that in Dark Souls 3, here you get a Healy Ring. In Dark Souls 1, here you do not. And, that's not good. Again, not Dark Souls 1's fault, not Guinevere's fault, but I really like the Healy Ring, so I'll never drop it, I'll never let it go. I will forever hold that. But I decided to bring Dex up to 20, because even though our damage is good, I like having my main stats being multiples of 5. I don't know why, I just do. But having gotten everything here for now, we're free to head on off. And we can head on down to Firelink Altar, watch that very nice cutscene, pay very, very close attention to lore and our current objective, head on back to Firelink, and laugh at their fleshy, flappy flesh mustache, and then feed them lots of metal, because that's how you raise a good snake, right? And then we pop all of our souls, and I sit down to level up, and normally whenever I pop all of my poppable souls, I'm always like 1 to 5,000 souls away from the next level. But here, we would end it with 59 souls when we need 17,000 to level up, which never happens to me. I never have enough souls to like just barely eke out that next level. This never happens to me, so this was great. But here I decided to move into strength because I wanted to get strength to 20, so it could be like 30 30 20 20 to make things nice and smooth and even. Not for any practical reason, just because I like the even numbers. But then we decided to get picked up by a bird and head on down to the northern Undead Asylum, because I figured at level like 50 with a plus 10 Halberd that's doing decent damage, we can probably take out Stray Demon in a reasonable amount of time, in probably like 2 or 3 minutes, and not have to do another like 10-minute one like that one time. But I figured, hey, we're here, we have our rubbish, might as well drop that. I don't know why you still have to, in the remaster, exit the game. It's like this came out in 2018, the remaster, to be specific. Whereas Dark Souls 3, you don't need to do that, and that came out in 2016. But that's just a tiny little nitpick. I'll take it. But we head on down, and I will let this attempt play itself out. That was pretty easy. And we got a nice Titanite slab out of it. We got a nice 20k out of it. And we beat him with the Halberd plus 10, Hollow Soldier Shield plus 5, Katarina Leggings plus 3, Chloranthy Ring, Ring of Steel Protection, and 1 sip of the Estus Flask because the gravity fall damage at the beginning. And we beat him at level 53 with 30 Vitality, 30 Endurance, 18 Strength, 20 Dexterity, 11 Resistance, and we beat him first try. And then, even though we didn't really get punished for it, we did try to skip this guy once, and he tried to lock us in the room, so no, we're just gonna kill him from now on, which he's very easy to parry, so doesn't matter too much. And we got up with Killer Doll, which besides Bloodborne, this is the easiest parrying has ever been. But we head on down to the depths because, remember, we came down here once for the large ember, and I said that I wasn't going to kill Gaping Dragon because without the Lord Vessel, trying to get in and then back out, either going up or down sucks. And so I like to wait until I get the Lord Vessel so I can just teleport out. And we got it, so we go on down now. And we can summon Solaire, but no. But we take a sip of Orestes, and we hit him with 9, and so I will let this attempt play itself out. And that's them down. I hope that we're not coming here too late, but we beat him with a Halberd plus 10, Hollow Soldier Shield plus 5, Katarina Leggings plus 3, Chloranthy Ring, Ring of Steel Protection, and 1 sip of the Estus Flask because we came in with 9. And we beat him at level 54 with 30 Vitality, 30 Endurance, 19 Strength, 20 Dexterity, 11 Resistance, and we beat him first try. And then from there, we can just homeward bone on out. And then we decided to head on out here to the Darkroot Garden because I just remembered that Moonlight Butterfly exists. I strategically placed Moonlight Butterfly here because I definitely remembered they were a boss the entire time. Yep. Also, anyone who says that Dark Souls 1 is slow is correct, but I've been speedrunning this area. I don't know why, it feels like there's a lot of long straight pathways that with enemies that you can just one-shot, so it makes it feel a little faster than maybe it should. But we get to the end, and we could summon Witch of Beatrice, which I wanted to. She's very cool, but she kind of turns the boss into a joke. I mean, the boss is already kind of a joke, but you know what I mean. But we decided not to do that and head in, and I will let this attempt play itself out. That boss, like, the boss fight lasted like 70 seconds, even though a good like 50, 60 seconds of it was just them floating. So it's kind of weird to think about how little actual fighting you do in that fight, because it was only like 10 seconds. But anyways, we beat him, 10k, Divine Ember, and we beat him with a Halberd plus 10, the Hollow Soldier Shield plus 5, Katarina Leggings plus 3, Chloranthy Ring, Ring of Steel Protection, and 0 Sips of the Estus. And we beat him at level 55 with 30 Vitality, 30 Endurance, 20 Strength, 20 Dexterity, 11 Resistance, and we beat him first try. And again, we can just Homeward Bone out and move on. And here we decided to head off to the new Londo Ruins. And I have been mentioning that, like, Halberd has been doing good so far, but I wonder how long that would last. And here's where things started getting a little funky. And those two misses made me quick swap to the Transient Curse to make sure that, like, it hadn't worn off super quickly for some reason. It didn't. That was just weird. I don't know why it happened, but we pick up the Firekeeper Soul, and well, that's nice. We're mostly here to get the very large ember, because plus 15 weapons are very nice. But also, that one works, but that one didn't, and that one didn't, and that one didn't, and that one didn't, even though it was a sweeping attack, and that one didn't. And that one didn't. You cannot say that all of these are because I was locked off, because half of these I was locked on. And you can't say that the Transient Curse was failing, or, like, not on, because it was. You can't say I was out of range, because I wasn't. I don't know why that happened. It was very weird. But I kept going. And it happened again there. And it happened again. And it happened again. Again, a lot of these, I'm locked on and within range, and the Transient Curse is still going. It's like, it makes sense why that one missed, but why would that one miss? Why would that one miss? That one hit. But why would that one miss? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would that one miss? Again, I have Transient Curse in the bottom left. It's darkened out, meaning I can't use it because it's still active. And again, why would that one miss? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would it doesn't happen on any of the other runs so far. But all of those misses made things take so long that it actually ran out here, which led to a very awkward situation. Because normally, Transient Curse for me doesn't run out until I get to the guy up top, wearing the, like, red robes. Like, it doesn't run out until I get to him, normally. But it ran out by the time I got to the Curse Bite Ring, because all of those misses took so long. But we talked to him, we got the key to the seal. We definitely listened to all that. And we used it to open the door, to get to the lever, to pull the lever, to open the doors, to get rid of the water, and then we headed down. Which 1, 2, we're not getting grabbed by that. 3. Alright, so two-handed, this thing's a 3-shot. And what about one-handed? Because sometimes I like to have my shield out. That was 2, that was 3, I'm not getting hit by that, and 4. So 3-shot, two-handed, 4-shot, one-handed. That's pretty good. We got good damage. But we clear out the room, we head on up, we get the very large ember. We once again homeward bone out, because no, we don't want to deal with this area right now. And we give the very large ember to Andre, and have a halberd sticking through his head. And that's 10 base, 11 additional, so that's 21 damage. I'm doing all these off the top of my head, so sorry if the math is wrong on any of these. But 12 base, looks like 4 additional, so that's like 16 damage. And then 11 base, 5 additional, so that's 16. And here we had 2 Titanite chunks, we needed 3. And so we were only 1 away, and I went, well, I think I know where to get one. It might be RNG based, I actually don't know, but might as well give it a try. So we head on off to Undead Parish, we ignore him and hope that he doesn't follow us. And while heading on up, for a moment I forgot that we can... I forgot that we can parry these guys, which made me take a few hits. But then I remembered you can parry them, which made things very easy. So we take him out, we get a Titanite chunk, that's very nice. And then we head on back, realize that we didn't give him the Divine Ember, because he only asked for 1 at a time. So we give that to him, and then that's 11, and then another 9, so that's 20 damage on paper. Again, doing all these off the top of my head, so sorry if any of the math is wrong. But then another 11 base, 5 additional, so that's another 16 damage. And just like that, Halberd plus 15, fully maxed out. And then in the depths we got a large Titanite shard, so why not? There's no reason not to. So we get the shield up. And then we head on back to Firelink, and at this point, we've gone through all of Sen's Fortress, all of Anor Londo, did a few, side bosses, and got a Halberd to plus 15, so I think that's pretty good progress in just part 2. So, yeah,